Dear book lovers, we have the pleasure of having among us a great author, internationally acclaimed and published, Author Dr.Rekha Shetty. She is a Mongolian for a book release, and she has in her name about 5 books. The 6th also is out. The international acclaimed publisher Penguin India has the honor of publishing her work, and we will have this book, Innovate Happiness, being released now in the bookstore here in Pages. She has come to Visakhapatnam for the program, and we have the privilege to have her in our store for this book release. And the first time to please come into our audience. It's a book very published by Innovate, and I'm sure Innovate Happily is something which book lovers and in general everybody would be looking forward to reading it, because this is something which has become a rare commodity, crucial to look forward. And Dr. Rekha has to say that this book will add happiness to millions of people's lives. And of course, Dr. Rekha Shetty is multifaceted. She has one of her translation of a Tamil book in Stanford Book Fair, and that's a great thing happening for an Indian to have vernacular language, Indian vernacular language book to have been launched in Stanford Book Fair, because worldwide, the industry starts from the platform of the Stanford Book Fair. That's where the whole world of book starts. In fact, that has been a privilege for our company to have been able to meet Stephen Hawking, the author of Brief History of Science. So that's the platform where Dr. Rekha Shetty's book of the translation of the Tamil book also been launched, which indeed speaks so high of her work. And she also is managing director in a network distribution company, Fast Start. And in fact, if I have to really give a brief idea about what she can do to people who really are looking forward to being happy. Her brand name is Mind Power, which deals with innovation and creativity. In fact, she also has a lot of blogging over single liners on happy quotient, which we would of course be talking about it and see how we can take it forward and share it with the people around who have interest. And beauty about one of our beauty about is she is popularly known as corporate doctors. Corporate doctors is so much in demand because you see so much of necessity of having a balance between your life and work. So there cannot be a better way to deal with than being a corporate doctor. It's a great thing, man. And of course, she's been a syndicate member of the 200-year-old Anna University. She's done a lot of programs, and of course internationally and nationally also there have been a lot of things. She was one of Asia's first women district governors of Rotary International, and was awarded Rotary highest award, Women for Hotel. We request Frank to please share with us our experiences and few writing things that can probably also give happiness along with students to our bookstore.
Thank you, Mr.Anil Nevatia. It's a great privilege to share a platform with someone who's brought the reading habit to Vizag. I think we should give him a big hand. I have two sons, and when they were small, we couldn't really afford it, but we bought Time Life books, the whole series. Every month we'd pay a certain amount, we'd get those beautiful books on animals, birds, and even today the most precious mementos I have of their childhood is the way they've scribbled on the book. And both my sons can just get lost in a book. You just imagine that you can understand the life learnings and spirit of any great soul in the world just by picking up a book. It is like meeting that great soul. It is the distilled essence of his wisdom. So nothing like a book. A person who loves books will never be lonely. You agree?
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise you won't be here. You won't be here. A person who loves books can never be lonely. He can live way into old age and he will never be lonely. First, this book.
He may be alone, not lonely.
A person may be alone but not lonely. And I somehow, prefer these books to e-books. Because with this book, you can just curl up on a rainy day and you can get lost in the pages. You can write your own comments. So some people don't like it. I have books which my father-in-law left us that were read in the 40s and 30s and all that, and we can see all his pencil remarks, and you feel, the presence of that person who's read the book. And I, of course, have a huge collection of books. My husband's presence, any more books coming into the house, I'm leaving. So there's no place. But I think the more the merrier. Through this book, see, I've been fascinated by the subject of happiness. Whether it is a king, or a beggar on the street, or all the people who flock to many ashrams, they're all looking for only one thing: how to be happy. So, for many years, about 22 years, my company has been a consultant to large blue chip companies on innovation. Innovation, I felt, was too much in the boardroom. It was not in the grassroots. See, we need people who are sitting at the cash to be innovative. Not with cash, but not with the cash.
The way of living cash.
Yes, and you can really turn off people if you are not conscious of what you're doing. For instance, the person in cash can really bug you by going on asking you to give change. It's his duty to keep change, right? So it goes on bugging you to give 5 rupees, 1 rupee, 2 rupees. We should not allow that, I think. So you look at each person. We want people who are on the shop floor to be innovative, like Mr. Patnaik here. Such a short notice, he organizes this program. We need people who can think out of the box. And today, everybody thinks India is going to be number one. In the year 2020, EIA, American organization, did a study 5 years ago. They said 2 countries will lead the nations of the world: Indian elephant and the Chinese dragon. Elephant is a real animal. It may be slow, it may be ponderous, but it's graceful, dependable. This Chinese dragon, we don't really know much about. Doesn't exist even. So I think we are well on our way, to being the world number one. And the way India is going to make it is going to be through the mind. We look at how we have got our position back. Like before the British, we were right on top of the economic order. Then we just plummeted down to maybe 65th position or whatever. And now today again, they're slowly inching our way up, and that is only through the power of the mind. Look at all the kids who have just taken over Silicon Valley. They've done it with the power of the mind. They've gone with suitcases with nothing except few clothes and hope. And they have transformed the Indian brand image. Today, 20 years ago, I traveled all over the world. 20 years ago, the Indian brand image was unreliable, undependable, shoddy products. That was the brand image. Today, anywhere you go, it's brilliant service. Nice people also. We can survive on curd rice. They are not very much into partying or anything. Intellectually, there is a certain capital that our young people have created. So that's why I chose innovation as my field of operation for the last 20 years. We have advised some of the best known and the most admired companies in South Asia with thinking tools. I'd like you to look at this Innovate 90 Days to Transform Your Business. Every day gives you one exercise. At the end of 90 days, you would have learned 100 ways to be innovative. I want you to look at that. See, I'm looking at workbooks which people can pick up and use. I'm not interested in something that will make you feel good and that's it. I'm not into feel-good books. I'm into a book which you can pick up and then use to transform your life. The Happiness Quotient was a big bestseller. It's a simple book about a man who goes out to find happiness, how to be happy. And it's got a lot of questionnaires where you can measure your level of happiness now, measure how to increase that level and so on. Now this Innovate Happily, why did I get into happiness at all? My subject was innovation. I got into happiness because I trained thousands of people across different companies and I found one thing that's lacking is people are not happy. Brilliant people going to the best institutions in the world and they're unhappy. By the time they're 35, they're saying how to retire by the time I'm 40. You ask any young person, he'll tell you I want to make a lot of money, retire at 35. What is it that they're doing to them that they want to retire at 35? There must be something. And that's when I became interested in the whole subject of happiness. See, my complete finding in one sentence on happiness is, happiness is not something that depends on you. Happiness is something within your control. You can create it. You create your own happiness. There are proactive things you can do every day to make yourself happy. Do you agree? Supposing you meet your best friend and speak to her for 1 hour, will you feel happy or not?
Yes.
You will. It will pull you out of whatever depression you are in. Your business may be going to dogs, but you speak to your best friend for 1 hour, will you be happy or not?
Yes.
Supposing you write a love letter to your mother, and your mother calls you up on the phone and tells you how she feels, will you be happy or not?
Yes.
What's preventing you from writing that love letter? Anything? Here we talk about how to proactively take action to improve your levels of happiness. I call them happiness breaks. Every day, plot and plan 5 happiness breaks, which will lift your day out of the mundane into the extraordinary. Every day, 5 small things. I've got this friend who used to be regional head at J. Walter Thompson. Every night before she goes to bed, she's got a gratitude diary. She sits down, writes 5 things which she is grateful for. 5 things before she goes to bed. I told her, why should you write it? You can think it. She said, no. For me, it works when I write it. And then I go back and I look at what I've written before. Every day I look at what should I be grateful for. Because human beings are always thinking, I'll be happier if I have something. Actually, nobody will be happier if they have something more. They'll be happier if they are something more. If you become something more, you will become a receptacle for happiness. Just because, it's said that Mark Twain was sharing the platform with one of the richest men in America, and one of the press people said, what do you have that this man does not have? That is a very rich man. And you know what Mark Twain said? I have one thing he will never have. I have enough. See, you can have enough with very little, or you can have nothing with everything. You talk to some people who seem to have everything and you just ask them, okay, yes, how is life? And why do they look like that swallowed castor oil? Really, like you just look at it. I'm not saying everybody should have enough. Everybody should be prosperous. India should be prosperous. If you go to the Pondicherry ashram, the mother said, Lakshmi should belong to good people. Good people should be wealthy. Good people should have the goods of the world under their control so that they use it well. The pity is that good people spurn luxury and they behave like it's immoral to make profits. I think it's immoral not to make profits. If you don't make profits, you'll treat everybody badly. You'll treat customers badly. You'll treat employees badly. You'll always be cutting corners. You should make lots of profits and then you should spread it around, grow your business. Anyway, this Innovate Happily is about a young man, about 28 years old. His name is Raghavan, calls himself Rag, and he meets this person, the young person's name is Junie, and he meets this guru called Raga, who calls himself Rag, and they meet in Bhutan. Why Bhutan? Because the king of Bhutan came up with this beautiful idea that why should countries measure gross national product alone? You should measure gross national happiness. How happy are the people? How much do people living in Bhutan enjoy their life? So he said you should measure that. And they came up with 4 pillars to measure the happiness of a community. All of us know those pillars. Of course, the first is economic viability. You should have some money. But the second thing is environmental purity. What is the use of having all the money in the world if the water in your town is grossly polluted, if the air you breathe is full of smoke? Like I went to this place called Daria in Bihar, and a friend of mine lives there, and he was showing me the coal field. You just walk, and suddenly underneath there is fire coming out of the earth. And I said, my God, what is this? He said, if you step there, you'll fall into an endless pit. I said, are you crazy? What has happened here? He said, they have removed coal and the whole earth is now full of methane gas and it's burning. I said, how do people live here? He says, all the kids are sent off to boarding schools. We live here because we got used to it. Look at the quality of life, or the t-shirt capital of the world. You will find more millionaires per square foot in Tirupur than anywhere else in the world. But you try to drink 1 glass of water from any well, it's poison. Its color has changed. When I went there once, someone showed me the inside of a tender coconut. The water is bright green. Can you believe that dyes have gone into the coconut, into the heart of the coconut? It breaks the coconut and it's bright green. So what Rag tells him in this book is that your gross national product can increase if you make more t-shirts, but it does not measure what it's doing to the baby child in the womb or the water in the coconut. The more trees you cut, gross national product will increase. But nobody is measuring what's happened to the atmosphere. So the second is environmental sustainability, and the third is cultural vitality. The old cultures always had dance, music, and people enjoying themselves. It doesn't matter if they didn't have big bank balances, but there's always this cultural vitality. People are working with their hands, they're creating beautiful things, and everything they use looks good. So cultural vitality is a very, very important part of gross national happiness. And then the 3,000 and we'll forget about it. So my eldest son rang me up and he said, what shall we do? I said, pay it and get rid of it. I've grown up in this culture to such. Then my younger son said, I'm not going to pay it. I'll pay 1.5 lakhs and I'll fight it. And that's what he's doing. I don't know whether he'll spend the rest of his life fighting all these petty criminals. I really don't know. So doing his work, I really don't want him fighting because my husband did that for years. It doesn't work. But I think my son has the right, the younger one has the right, made the right choice. He said, why, Ma? Everybody starts doing this and then you talk about corruption. It's not fair. So let's fight it. I'll get a good lawyer and I'm going to get a good consultant. Let them fight it.
You'll feel also very happy about it.
Yeah. They feel very happy and they feel they're doing something for the country, They feel good about it. So I told my son, shall we get, these people, Anna Hazare group, because I know them well, shall I get them into this? He said, yeah, let's do it, but first let us pay that amount and then we'll fight it. Then we'll see what happens. So it's also about that. So it's all in the form of a story. The 4 pillars, there are actual action points. What can you do to turn your neighborhood into a family? See, today you're scared to send your child to play on the street because you don't know what can happen to that kid. What happened to us? There's a list of things you can do to turn your streets into your village, so that your kids can go anywhere and the kids is safe. Even in a building, you don't feel safe enough to just send your child out and, play with your friends. We all did that when we were growing up. Now you can't do it. So each item has actions which you can take. It has actions on how every individual can save water. It's about taking responsibility to create happy communities. And it's in the form of a story, so I feel it's very easy to read. Somehow, after writing about 4 management books, I realized people like stories. So happiness quotient is also a story. So you find it easy to absorb, and then it gives you points which you can actually implement, action ideas. See, forget all that. Every day I write an innovation blog and I write a happiness blog. It's just a paragraph. What I really want to do is create a revolution. An epidemic of innovation and happiness. Because it's so easy to do. We've got the cultural mindset to be happy, to be innovative. In India, nothing is easy. Everything you have a resource constraint, resource crunch. We all grew up with it. And so we grew up able to use our minds. We don't just sit back and say it can't be done. I think we are in the right place at the right time, both for a revolution on innovation and happiness. And I feel finally, when we are #1 world power, we should have the highest gross national happiness. There's no use getting there and destroying the gross national happiness. We shouldn't be like the US. We should not be like Germany. They have made their mistakes, so we can learn from their mistakes. We don't have to go through the same path. We can just fly in on top of that path, right? So this is a book about that. And they talk about Mao's Little Red Book. This is the Little Red Book on innovation and happiness. Thank you very much.
On happiness, if being able to get any kind of a message, I'm sure this will make a difference in the life of people who have heard your message. And it certainly asks for understanding the happiness gross of the product and not the GDP, as well you just mentioned about it. And for sure, as you said, that if we can move out of the wrong practices and get into the right practices, certainly creates natural happiness also, and they really help us move forward. Thank you for the decision. We announced that if there is somebody who would like to ask something on it or else things, we have this book available, and the author will do us the honor of signing the book. If somebody is interested in this, we will also exchange discount of 10% now. If somebody buying the book and can have the author sign books also. Thank you. If somebody wants to ask something, thank you. I think we have somebody who, yeah, please come. We have somebody, we have a pen. Ma'am, I have a question. Books are the regular tools that we see. Your happiness card, will you be able to see some kind of a happiness card coming
Oh.
in which you talked about.
You're giving me this idea.
You said about innovation and creativity. So we thought, let's see how we can simply everything and come with the innovation and talk about happiness cards. You're talking about some kind of a block message and package. Maybe we can have them in form of some kind of a happiness card also. Just to let us know what it is.
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
Definitely work.
Thank you.
Oh, sure.